kind of like a worksheet that I'm doing. I'm working on it, but I noticed that because of all these thoughts, it's like, oh, should I just keep working on that one or just like try to find a more important one in a way?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we can just keep going with that
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. That question falls right into what we were just talking about. Like, should I find a more important one to work on? And that always tells me like I'm still looking for that one thing that's gonna like really open it up for
Yeah.
me or like set me free or something. But it's the tiny things. It's the unimportant work that probably is the most important. It brings the most surprises. Um, yeah. So, but on the other hand, we're free, and we may just decide I'm done with this worksheet. I'm going to move on to another one, and that's also totally fine.
Hmm, I see. Yeah, I think I want to question the wants.
Okay.
And my situation is I was I requested a loan to go to college a lot of years ago. That was quite a bit of years ago. And then it was delayed, so they kicked me out of there because they never got the payment. So that's kind of like the situation where I'm stuck, where they're kicking me out of college because there's a problem with the
Yeah.
payment and stuff
Okay.
like
So,
that.
what were your wants in that situation?
So I have a quite a bit of different ones in there, but the one that sticks to me the most is I want them to stop making me feel bad.
Okay. Great. Great. Well, let's question that. Do you remember where you were when they kicked you out, when you got that message after the loan was delayed and you couldn't continue? Um,
Yeah, there's like different instances of it, but I remember the last time where I went to the office and talked to them where they said like, "Oh, we're not going to allow you to be here
yeah.
anymore because the payment hasn't been received." So that's the moment where I feel
Okay.
like
Very
it's
clear. And the statement was, I want them to stop making me feel bad. Is that right? Okay.
yeah.
So, is that true? You want them to stop making you feel bad. Be there in that office when they're saying you can't continue. Is it true? You want them to stop making you feel bad.
Yes.
And can you absolutely know it's true? You want them to stop making you feel bad.
Yeah.
So, how do you react? What happens when you think or feel this way and they're kicking you out? And you think you want them to stop making you feel bad.
I feel like trapped. Like I have no saying. I just need to like if I'm receiving an order where I can't say anything at all, and I'm just there to do whatever they say and I don't have any saying on it. I feel like a lot of tension in my upper back and my shoulders. I feel like they're attacking me right there in that moment. I feel like disappointed and I can see how I start judging them in my head like for not giving me more time and not giving me a chance in that way in that specific moment. And I start looking for who's guilty, like more people too. Like the reason why I'm there is because my parents didn't have the money to pay for it. So I'm judging them also for having me to go through the loan company and like try to make that happen. And it did happen. It's just that they had like a lot of delays, but I judged them for not having the money and pay right away for me to be there. And then I judged myself for not being able to take care of it myself, like be dependent on
Mm.
somebody else and not just be able to control that. I feel like not welcomed. I have that feeling of like people telling you like you don't belong here and there. And I feel just stuck, like lost because I don't know what am I gonna do. Yeah, and it's like I'm frozen. Like I don't know. I can move or think clearly or anything. It's just I'm there just trapped.
Mm. And ever since that time, whenever you've looked back at that situation, um, how have you reacted when you think you want them to stop making you feel bad?
Yeah, I put myself like a kind of like in a defense mode where they're attacking me, so I'm kind of like trying to block anything they say and not pay too much attention to like the reasons behind or anything. It's just like I just got the no, and then it's like everything shuts down in a
Mm.
way. So it's like I'm out of there, and I don't want to hear anything else. It's
Hmm.
like
Yeah, how do you treat school from that point forward?
oh, I treat it as the worst college ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I treat it really bad in my head. Like no, like I'll be better in a different place. They don't deserve to have me. Things like
Hmm.
that come to mind for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I try to also like balance that out a little bit. Like, oh, college is not that important
Hmm.
anyway. So I won't do it
Hmm.
anyway. So it's not a big deal. Trying to minimize the effects on me or something.
Totally. Yeah. All of this is reaction, right? This is how you react. You can't help it when reaction is something that happens automatically, but it's happening partly because of believing a thought like this. I want them to stop making me feel bad. So, who would you be without the thought that you want them to stop making you feel bad? Even when you're in that office and they say you can't continue, the money didn't come, and they're kicking you out.
I can see how I'm there, like not looking at it personally, like understanding their point of view and that even though it's education, it's a business like any other business. Like that's how it works. So I can understand a little bit more what they're saying. And I can see myself there actually looking for solutions rather than just being frozen and not being able to do anything or not wanting to do anything.
Hmm.
I can see that I have more options, that I can go to talk to the people that is supposed to release the loan. or ask for a little bit more time, or ask them what else I can do to just keep going. So I can see how I'm less of a victim in that moment, or like saying, "Oh, poor me," because they didn't let me keep going or something like that, and more of like I have some choices that I can make here. And I don't feel as bad anymore.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. So the thought, I want them to stop making me feel bad, keeps the attention on them, and they're making me feel bad. So then I don't see any options. Victim, stressed, and just shut down. If that thought isn't there, I want them to stop making me feel bad. Then the attention isn't on them making you feel bad, and it's more about, okay, so now what? And what are the options? And it doesn't, and ironically, you don't feel as bad. So this is the effect that the thought is
Yeah.
having. It's amazing. Yeah.
And then my mind gets more busy in terms of like the options I have, or what can I do, or and what I want to do
Right.
too. So that's
Right.
interesting.
Exactly. Because what I'm getting from this, I don't know, but is that once they said, no, this isn't going to work, then you just got rid of school, got rid of any idea that you're going to keep going. Just that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without that thought, more options.
Yeah. And I'm not in a rush. I feel like slow down, just looking at the situation like from a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. So how would you turn the thought around? I want them to stop making me feel bad.
I don't want them to stop making me feel
Right? Can you
bad.
make any sense of that?
Yeah, based on what we just talked about, is I'm the one doing that with the situation. They're not making me feel bad in reality. They're just saying like, "Oh, we didn't get the money yet, so we need to get that money to let you just keep going."
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
And they're not saying it like in a bad way or like anything. They're just like putting it there because that's their job
Right.
anyway.
They're not saying you don't belong here, don't ever come back. Nothing like that.
Yeah. All they're saying is like, okay, we're giving you something, then we need to get the money for that something that you're getting. So
Yeah. They're being fair, right? They're like you
yeah.
say, running a business. Yeah.
Mhm.
So so what was the turnaround again? I want them to stop making me feel bad. I don't want them. Hmm.
I
Any other examples for that?
right, because if they don't say anything, then I wouldn't do anything either. Like I wouldn't go talk to the people that should be releasing the money for the loan or anything. So I wouldn't even know if they don't say anything to me.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So
So I don't want them to stop making me feel bad. Even though it makes me feel bad, it gives me information that I can use. Yeah. Got it.
yeah, do
Hmm.
something. If not, everything will just be one day the door will be closed and I won't be able to get in
Right.
at all.
Right.
So
Which is ironically how you treated this.
Yep. Exactly the
Even
way.
though it wasn't really that. Yeah, it was saying we need the money, but it's not necessarily the end unless the money doesn't come, which is always possible. So, what's another turnaround? I want them to stop making me feel bad.
I want me to stop making me feel
Okay.
bad.
How does that come
And
into play here? How could you what's yeah, what do you see?
I can see that one clearly because it's me like building to this and putting more things and making me feel bad. Oh, it's because you're not good enough. It's because you can't pay. So it's like me coming with all those negative thoughts and just putting it in this specific situation as a layout or something, or like to validate what I'm thinking in the
Yeah.
moment. So
Yeah. Yeah, literally attacking yourself with those thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah. And that will make anyone feel bad, but especially you're doing it to yourself. Yeah. And it's not that you can
Mhm.
help it, that just happens, right? Like you just believed it and then started believing that you don't belong here and all of that. It's all reaction. So there's nothing to blame, but it's just good to see that the pain is coming as much or even more from what you're seeing, how you're seeing it, what you're doing internally than from what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
So I want me to stop making me feel bad. How about today when you look back on that situation? Are there any ways you could stop making yourself feel bad about uh, about that whole thing?
Yeah, I think like going back, like you can just see the situation for what it is and like recognize that it's not my fault or their fault. It's like something happened and there's just a delay on it. So that's not a big
Yeah,
deal. So
and um, and then how is it good that you didn't continue your studies? You know, because of that. How did that turn out to be like an advantage or a good thing in your life now that you look back on it?
well, it worked out because I got a chance to study something different, something that I also wanted to do and learn a lot from it. So everything happens for a reason. So you can
Yeah. So I want me to stop making me
Mm.
feel bad about that situation because that situation turned out to be a door opening to another situation, another pathway that
Mhm.
was helpful, was part of your life now. Yeah.
Yeah. And it made me be more open to different things also and like to pay more attention and like use that kind of feeling to go through different things and not just kind of like stay in that same self-attack mode or
Hmm.
something. So
Hmm.
even if it was like trying to escape from that feeling and not have it again, it actually helped me to do that.
Yeah,
So
it
that's
is.
interesting.
So any other turnaround? I want them to stop making me feel bad.
I want me to stop making
Uh
them
huh.
feel
That would
bad.
also be a turnaround. Does that make any sense in
Mm.
this situation?
Yeah, even though I didn't say anything bad to them or anything, in my mind, I was like, oh, they're the worst and this, that. So it makes a lot of sense to just like stop doing that and recognizing what it
Yeah.
is and like the situation itself and not making it like it's me against them or something
Yeah.
like that. So
That energy can stay with you. And then every time you think of them or any kind of organization like them, you can have that me against them feeling, and it can continue to make you feel bad because you're trying to make them feel
yeah,
bad. So, yeah, I want me.
true. Now that you mentioned that, every time I just like walked around that place or like just drove around, you can kind of see it like in the back of your head. It's like, ah, you didn't let me in or
Exactly.
something. You kicked me out. So it was still there. So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
And that
Yeah.
prevents you from enjoying walking around there or just even thinking about them. It's like
Yeah.
there's a part of your universe that you cannot go there anymore. Like it's only like it's a bad part of your universe. So
Mm.
I want me to stop making them feel bad, like basically blaming them or thinking badly about them, because that makes me limited. It makes my life less enjoyable, less free, less open
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's really cool. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. Great work. Well, thanks, Edwin.
Thank you. It was great.